it's your old pal Slim, and this is 70mm, a podcast for movie fans just like you. Disclaimer at the top of the show, we're not experts, but we do love watching movies. With me each and every episode is my close friend and artist, Danny Haas.
Hello.
And our close friend and movie insider, Protolexis. The face you made making that noise. Maybe that'll be the one video we post from the show, is just you making that noise. Every movie that we cover is connected to a theme for that month, and this time it's Leading Ladies Volume 4. We're continuing with Proto's pick, Serial Mom. And you can use the chapters in your podcast app to skip right to that discussion. Brandon left a review on Letterboxd, tagged 70mmPod.
Okay.
So we'll start the show off with this. Brandon says, John Waters himself said it best, quote, "I think we all wish we had a mother that would murder for us," end quote. Lots happening in the news this past week. We'll just real quick get into the news. Everyone's talking about major story rocked the nation. People asking can we recover. Investigations ongoing. Me giving 4 stars to Tim Burton's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory this week. Settling the score. We did a Willy Wonka episode. A lot of crazy opinions in there. You know, a lot of mea culpas said, and I was the only one who hadn't seen the Johnny Depp movie and then the Timothée Chalamet movie, so I said I was going to go watch them to settle it. And the Tim Burton one, not gonna lie, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm completely removed from the Wonka stuff. I'm not a Wonka head. I didn't see this I don't think I saw this when it came out in theaters, but I really enjoyed it. I think I like Depp's version better. I'm sorry. It's just how I feel, Proto.
Don't apologize. I haven't seen it, but maybe I should.
Okay.
I think the only score we needed you to settle, Slim, was Chalamet's Wonka.
Wow.
I think that was the score.
Listen. I gave that movie 5 minutes, and I shut that movie off so fast. I could not do it. I'm sorry to the Wonkas, the Wonka heads. 5 minutes and I knew it was over for me. I was like, I have something better to do than watch this movie. And that was it. You gave it a low rating, didn't you, Danny? You said it was like a travesty. But you watched the whole thing.
Yeah, I did. I feel like I had to watch it at that point. I feel like I was like, at one point, this is going to turn around for me, right? Proto liked it. He was a theater viewing, though, so maybe that was the difference.
The king, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, that was the score to settle. If we remember all the way back to last week, the conversation was, I gave it 3 stars, Danny gave it 1 star.
Yeah.
And it's really surprising. If you would have told me that there are no real Paul King fans on this podcast, I would have said you're out of your mind. But apparently that's the case. That's the case now.
I just don't care enough about Willy Wonka to watch a Willy Wonka prequel musical. Like that doesn't do anything for my brain or heart at all. And I just knew that it wasn't going to work out. Would you rather me have logged it with a 1 star? Is that what people want? I was gracious enough to DNF and not even log it after that 5 minutes. I thought I was being very full of grace in that moment.
I just, like, right now, I'm scrolling down your diary, Slim. And the fact that it's like, you don't even have the time for Wonka. But if you just like peruse the movies that you've watched over the course of this year,
let's hear
it. It's quite the statement. No, I'll leave it to them. Everyone can go look and see for themselves.
Okay. Okay. You mean Chuck Norris in Code of Silence? Is that something you're thinking about in my diary?
That's a certified banger. We all know
yes,
this.
of course. Let's just real quick say hello to Mike, Nicholas, Zach, and Josh. They all joined our Patreon this week. Got access to our VHS Village Discord, discounts on merch, Danny's Prints, and that much maligned Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory episode. And we have to choose our next few Patreon episodes.
Oh man,
Proto.
Oh yeah.
I'm very.
Do you have
excited
your
about this.
apparatus that your
Oh my
your
gosh.
machine that you went into the lab to design? He's bringing it out. He's wheeling it out into the studio right now.
Careful.
Let me get it. Let me get it in frame here. Let me pull up the list.
These are all movies
Slow.
suggested by interns. The interns on our Patreon.
You can hear the balls. Everyone's balls accounted for in here.
Okay. Okay.
I'm gonna roll it. 1 ball, 2 balls.
There's like there's electricity like emanating from the machine at all corners. It's like one of those old school Tesla machines.
It's crazy. Hold on, let me get this. The ball tried to escape. Get the ball back.
Oh my
in there.
gosh.
Holy smokes!
All right. All right. First ball is number 60.
Ooh,
And
that's way
number
down there.
60. Oh, you know what? This ball. This ball. I reorganized the list, so there is no 60 anymore. Sorry,
Oh.
everyone.
Roger Maris.
Okay. Okay. We've got 47, which is our dear friend Grugro Dave in the
Oh.
Discord. And his
Oh
pick
my
was
gosh.
The Last Emperor.
Holy cow.
Oh,
Is that a Steven Spielberg movie?
Spielbergo, The Last Emperor.
No, that's
Sorry.
Empire of the Sun.
Yeah, sorry. We were close. It's
Scorsese.
Bernardo Bertolucci.
The other Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
Italian Spielberg. This movie,
Okay.
let's see. So this is just real quick. This is streaming on Criterion and Max right now. He was the Lord of 10,000 years, the absolute monarch of China. He was born to rule a world of ancient tradition. Nothing prepared him for our world of change. Okay.
Wow.
Next up, number 32, and this is Tony S. I'm excited
Okay.
for this. I've never seen this. Big Trouble in Little China.
Hello.
That's huge.
Hello.
Mamma mia.
Hello.
That is huge.
Kurt
That's a
Russell's
big one.
first time on the pod. Kim Cattrall.
It's not.
John Carpenter, the master of horror himself with Jack Burton. Oh my. Okay, everyone, we don't need an introduction for that one. Everyone knows that movie.
Everyone.
We don't
knows.
need to talk about it.
You said you haven't seen it, Proto.
I have not. I have
Okay.
not. This is my moment. And last but not least, final pick, number 25, Bien Ben, with their pick of Minari from 2020.
Whoa.
Yo.
Things are getting serious.
What?
Minari.
The gem of Letterboxd, pre or like early pandemic. Remember everyone losing their minds
Yeah.
when this movie came out?
The old 4.5 star. That's what became
Yeah, it
known
was
as
called
Minari.
Getting Minari'd. You wouldn't believe the amount of people that were pissed off when you logged this movie at 4.5 stars. Like it was the biggest insult to them.
Yeah.
Watch it again, they'd say. A Korean American family moves to Arkansas in search of their own American dream. Amidst the challenges of a new life in the strange and rugged Ozarks, they discover the undeniable resilience of family and what really makes a home.
God, can you
Streaming on
imagine?
Max?
Proto synops over Emil's score for this? You kidding me?
Save it.
Oh.
Don't even mention it right now. Just save it. I mean, how many movies do we talk about on this show that are streaming on Max? Everyone likes to, spread their A cheeks
Mhm.
on Max, but there's a lot of friggin' stuff on Max, right? Can we just admit that, please?
I'm spreading my A cheeks for other reasons.
We'll get into it. We'll get into it. You just came out of long legs. We'll get into it in mere moments.
Daddy!
So if my my God. Proto's impression in the UFO that you dropped was unhinged. Absolutely unhinged. So that will be our next slate for patrons only. So if you're listening to us in the main feed and haven't made the jump onto our Patreon for, how much is it? $4 a month, I think?
$4. Big trouble. God.
That's the first time I've said how much our Patreon costs in maybe 3 years. Maybe since we launched the
It's
Patreon.
only $4.
$4.
One less latte.
Yeah, seriously, folks.
And you get
Just one
hundreds of
less,
episodes.
One less Frappuccino that is going to send you over to the Starbucks bathroom minutes after full consumption. Grace Ellen in chat says lattes cost $7 now.
Oh my God.
Is that real?
I didn't want
What
to
are
think
people-
about that.
$7.
I didn't think about that.
And
Imagine
then
what
the
we-
tip, then you're at $10. You're at
Christ.
$10.
We don't have enough time in the episode to discuss tipping practices for various businesses. Maybe we'll never have the time to get into that, folks. But I think we should hear about long legs. This was the talk of the town. People are losing their minds. The marketing campaign that
Rock
shocked
the
the nation. Yes. So Pardo, you just came out of it, but Danny, you were the first of us to see it. You were the first to set the
Was I?
stage. I think so.
We saw it the same night, Slim. You just got bumped an hour
You
later.
were the first log. You were the oh my God, I already forgot about the terrible experience.
Yeah.
you had an amazing time.
Did you log it, Proto?
You did.
Yeah, I just did. Yeah.
Oh,
Right before.
should I click over to see the stars? Hold on, let me see the stars.
They might shock you.
Will it? It's not shocking.
Get ready to get shocked.
I just saw it. I'm not shocked.
Oh.
Thank you.
I said may. I didn't say they would.
Yeah, I saw it Thursday night early. Casey and I saw it, and I had a freaking great time watching. I had so much fun. I thought Osgood's direction was amazing. I enjoyed the story. I thought Nick Cage was rad. Micah was great. Is that how you say her name? Am I saying it right? Micah?
Micah Monroe.
Yeah,
Queen.
Micah's super fun. I just had a great time watching it. It's another one of those also. I feel like my last few theater experiences have had a crowd that is just. I think Maxine was a fantastic crowd as well. So it was like they were just in it, and the first, not to spoil, but there's a little jump scare kind of in the beginning ish area. And this guy next to Casey, I thought he was going to hit the roof. He jumped so I've never seen someone jump so high in my life at a jump scare in a movie. And I was cackling. And then it was also freaking me out in the theater because the guy to the left of me, so we were closer to the stairs, but we were towards the back a bit. And he had his feet up. We were in the recliners. And he kept moving his foot, and it was casting the silhouette. And it kept looking like a silhouette was coming up the stairs, and I kept looking over every time, and it was nothing. I'm like, buddy, you got to cut it out. It was driving me nuts. Anyway, I had a great time watching this film. I just had so much fun. I thought the story was a great time too. I don't know. I don't think I had any expectations other than serial killer movie. So I was just in it for what it was. It's fun.
Osgood Perkins. Not many people know this, but he's the son of Anthony Perkins, folks.
Yeah.
Just going to throw that out there.
Not a coincidence.
It's your little nugget for the episode. So I saw it the same night as Danny.
Daddy!
Jesus Christ. That was piercing. I saw it the same night as Danny, and I gambled and asked my lovely wife to go to the movies with me. What do you think about going to see a horror movie? A lot of buzz around this thing.
Yeah.
And we go to our I'm not even gonna say the name of the theater. I'm removing the name. The theater can't hurt me anymore. But it's the one that prevents me from taking water in. And we get there. There's we're the first two people to buy tickets to the showing, maybe the day before. And I didn't put this in my review because I feel like I'm becoming a guy that just has bad theater experiences. So I don't want to I don't want to be that guy, you know?
No.
I just want to be me. I don't want to become a thing, a bit, because not a bit. But anyway, we go to sit down in the theater. And someone comes in and tells us that, like, you know what? They should have told you at the front desk this showing was canceled. So you guys have to come
That's
out
insane to
and get
me.
a refund, or you could go to the 9 o'clock if you want. And by this point, it's like, we're sitting down at like 8:25 trying to get as close to like showtime because Amanda hates trailers and everything. And so once she said that, I was like, oh God, this night is spiraling.
It's done.
Like we have to wait another, like in theory, it could be another hour before the movie starts.
Right.
Easily.
So we had just got all this food. We had popcorn, pretzel nibs,
Oh my God.
a giant soda. And so I was like, all right, I guess give us tickets to the 9. And she's like, all right, we'll come to the front desk. We'll get you seats. It's like a smaller theater. She's like, I don't think your seats are going to be in there, but we'll get you some seats in there. I was like, oh my God, this is terrible.
Oh no, I would have turned around and walked out.
So
There's no
we go
way.
to sit down at the bar and start eating our food that we're going to have for the movie. And we open the pretzel nibs and cheese rock hard.
No.
I'm like, no, not.
You were the nugs.
No. The pretzel nibs. And so now there's like, not only do I have to kind of like go to the front desk to, get new seats, now I have to go through the process of like asking for replacement pretzel nibs and potentially a refund at this point. Cause now I'm like this is potentially refund territory. Like I'm starting to get bummed.
Yeah.
So all that to say, it wasn't a great experience, and Amanda gave it 1 star. So not our ideal date night out, to say the least. We got home at like 11:30. I wasn't going in with like giant expectations because I know these marketing campaigns can be just like bunk, but it didn't really meet my expectations. Proto, you sounded like it was maybe a similar experience for you. And and you had some food troubles as well, based on what I heard in that audio file.
Well, I think I was definitely sold on the marketing. So +1 for that. They did a great job. But I think when I saw the reviews coming in, I think I knew like I wasn't going to love this movie based on just the reviews I was reading. But I just wanted to be a part of it,
Ride the wave.
I just want to be on the wave with everybody else. So I kind of had that expectation going in, and kind of had like heard a little bit, okay, like, oh, this is partly, just like thematically what it's about. I think my biggest gripe with the movie was that it felt like it was all in one gear or like one tone of a horror movie. And like most movies, and I think especially horror movies, they need to have some kind of like ebb and flow to them to take you out of that so that you're not feeling like this one way. But I don't think this movie really does that. It kind of like stays very serious and like foreboding the whole time. And I thought that like, just, after like the first part, I like wasn't feeling anything in terms of like being scared or like anxious about anything. Now, granted, I'm like, this is going into its second weekend. There was 3 other people in my theater. So it was definitely a different experience than opening weekend. But I just, I just didn't think like it all worked for me. I think it looks great. I think a lot of like the ideas are really good. And like the things they're just playing with is cool, but it just didn't come together in like a meaningful way to me. So that's kind of where I'm at. But I mean, I'm excited to see like what else they could, come up with, what Osgood might do next.
More horror. Hook me up.
Yeah.
I forgot to say too, when we went to the 9 o'clock showing, we finally took our seat at like, 5 of. Total silence, nothing playing on the screen.
What?
Like 15 after rolls around, and I'm just like, is this karma for what I said in our Wizard of Oz episode about like how good we have it watching movies at home? It was just karmic retribution, it felt like. Eventually the movie did play, but.
I will say for our viewing, we had a bunch of trailers, but I hadn't seen the Nosferatu trailer yet, and I got to see it on the big screen. You talk about rock hard. That movie's going to be... I cannot wait for that
I don't
movie.
think people are ready for
I can't
Nosferatu fever
I know.
online.
It's going to be...
How many channels is Danny going to have to mute when that movie is like
I've already
coming out?
started. I've already started the mutinying. I can't wait. And I have not seen the original either, so I really would like to watch that one. Maybe we could do a special ep on that one.
Ooh.
The 20s or whatever, that old one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd love to see some art for that one, tell you what.
Right?
I'm
That'd be
seeing the
fun to do.
I'm so hyped for this that I couldn't resist. I saw a Prime Day deal.
What
I
did
went
you
out and
buy?
I got Eggers.
What?
I got Eggers' previous movie, The Northman.
I gotta
Hello.
see this. I
You guys
really need
remember
to see
this?
I remember
Remember
that,
this
yeah.
I
picture?
remember the trailer for it.
A lot of buzz on that movie.
I need to go back. Yeah, I got the 4K plus the Blu-ray plus the digital code collector's
Mamma
edition.
mia.
Eggers could film himself like cutting
Excuse
his
me.
fingernails and people would just be like losing their shit online.
They just be like weeping, clapping.
Yeah. Five bang, like just hard fives coming in.
Has he ever missed? Okay.
He's
it's
3
not-
for 3.
Thank you.
It's not for me to decide.
Going for a 4-peat.
We've got a jam-packed episode. We haven't heard from Proto to hear about Passion of Joan of Arc, right? That was another.
Oh,
Like you logged this on Letterboxd and you made it sound like you had a spiritual experience watching this film.
I did. I had a spiritual experience. This is part of my Criterion challenge. And listen, I've been going through a little bumpy road on my challenge recently. But this movie, and speaking of Nosferatu,
Okay.
Is it
never
in this?
mind. I was going to say that the guy who directed Joan of Arc, but this guy directed Vampire, not Nosferatu.
Oh, Vampire.
So,
Vampire.
different movie. But this was directed by Carl Theodor Dreyer in 1928.
My gosh.
So it's an oldie. But they did this. They did a restoration, I think in 2015, it said, where they actually changed the frame rate of this movie so that it's like 24 FPS to match what we do, rather than like that sped up
Yeah.
looking version of like older movies. And this movie is so gorgeous.
Really?
I was blown away at how crisp it is, but also how like ahead of its time it felt. And I know like we say that all the time. We watch like an old movie that's like a classic. We're like, well, this would be ahead of its time. But really it felt like, I don't know. It's just, you have to see it. It just blew me away. And now this is a silent movie. And it has text on the screen, but this journey, has anybody heard of Joan of Arc?
Mm.
Anybody know this story? Oh my God, the way this story is presented in this actress who plays her, Maria
Anya Taylor-Joy.
She's unbelievable in it, and it's mostly just her face, like crying through this whole movie. But she's amazing. Our dear friend Art, he has an amazing review on Letterboxd. He really said everything better than I could about this movie. So if you want to know what it's all about, go read his review. But I put it in my top 4.
Ridiculous. My God.
What?
Yeah, I needed to. Well, it's like I haven't put a
haven't swapped?
movie recently. Yeah, I haven't swapped anything out in a while. I was like, you know what, this is my moment. So
what
I loved
did you kick out of your 4?
Fellowship of the Ring.
Oh.
Put it on
my
the bench
God.
for now.
Holy crap.
Take it off a burner. Let it
I'm gonna need to
cool.
watch this. Wait, where did you see it? Is it streaming or is it Criterion?
Streaming in a bunch of places. It looks
Oh,
like
it's- okay.
Criterion, Tubi,
I see your
Max.
pause. I'll
Max,
find it on the
baby.
web. I'll find Max.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of places. Flix Fling.
Excuse me.
I don't know what that is. I don't know why I even had that in my faves. We have to get into Serial Mom. There's no more time left. We'll get into my body heat thoughts maybe in this discussion. William Hurt's nude body and murder. Episode 228, Serial Mom, 1994, John Waters. I think this is the only John Waters movies I've seen, just setting the stage. I don't want any John Waters nuts out here clenching their fists at me.
Excuse me?
Hairspray, Crybaby, Pink Flamingos. Those are some other movies of his, Danny. But
Oh, thank you.
Serial Mom, Proto, this is your pick. What's this movie about?
Beverly Sutphin is a homemaker housewife who seems lovely but has a dark secret. She is going to kill people. When her son's math teacher criticizes poor Matthew Lillard, she decides it's time to run him over. When Ricky Lake gets stood up by Carl, Beverly corners him in a public restroom and stabs him with a fire poker. But as she becomes more brazen with her killings, the cops catch on until she is put on trial for serial murder. Can she fool a jury? Serial mom.
Can she? Will she? We'll touch on this topic in mere moments. I want to hear from Proto about your history with John Waters and Kathleen Turner and Serial Mom.
I don't really have any history with John Waters. I don't think I was aware of John Waters until Letterboxd, probably until we started doing this show. Our friends over at Bat and Spider, Chuck and Dale, I know they've covered a John Waters movie, at least one. Was it Multiple Maniacs they did? Or whatever
That sounds like a Bat and Spider movie.
Yeah. They covered one of them, and I heard their discussion, and that's probably about as close. Oh, Brandon in the chat is saying it was Female Trouble. That's as close as I've gotten to seeing a John Waters movie. Mm-hmm. So I heard them talk about it. And I know he's kind of like he's a figure like almost like an underground filmmaker, just off the wall kind of stuff. And this Serial Mom, this kind of looked like more of one of, I guess, like his mainstream movie in the 90s, maybe like tamer of his movies. So that's my history with him. With Kathleen Turner, I think the only thing I know about Kathleen Turner is Body Heat, which I watched a couple years ago. And I was, got to know her pretty well.
In the biblical sense.
And that's about it for me.
Kathleen Turner, this is probably the first thing I've ever seen her in, because I had seen this when I was young, but Roger Rabbit was probably the main thing that I would associate with her. I tried to think back when I first saw Serial Mom, because I also just recently rewatched this. It's on Netflix right now. But I must have seen this when this came out on a VHS in 1994. Maybe I saw it on like an HBO presentation. I don't know. I must have been like a 12, 11, 13 when I first saw this movie.
It's all making sense.
I mean, imagine watching this movie as a 12 or 13-year-old boy. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a lot of things, we'll get into it. There's a lot of things that are in this movie that I can't even begin to explain what I would have thought as a kid. It's just like blowing my mind. Like, what am I seeing? Like, what is he doing? What is that? Are those like the biggest boobies in history? Chesty Morgan in that scene. But I also have not really ventured into John Waters' stuff. Like, I do listen to our friend Bat and Spider podcast, and they have talked about John Waters a bunch, but I haven't seen Hairspray or some of the other movies that I'd named, Pink Flamingos. He's extremely popular, but for whatever reason, I just haven't ventured into his stuff. Danny?
This is my first John Waters, and it's the same. Bat and Spider's only one they probably introduced me to him. I feel like I've seen his face more than I've seen his movies.
Yeah,
he's very
recognizable,
unique. Yeah, recognizable, very unique individual. Kathleen, though, she was Chandler Bing's dad. I watched a ton of Friends, all of Friends, multiple times. But she played Chandler Bing's dad, so that's how I knew her the most. Before, she
played his dad in Friends.
Yeah, I don't know how the gender roles for that one was. Anyway, she was very funny as Chandler's dad. But that's kind of all I know of her and John Waters. I've never seen anything.
I do know she was in the Romancing the Stone with Michael Douglas, and I feel like I've tried. That's Robert Zemeckis.
No, I've seen Jewel of the Nile. Yeah.
I've tried watching Romancing the Stone a few times, and I just can't get into it. I don't know if it was the Michael Douglas of it all. It just feels like it just doesn't work. I thought it was going to be like a fun, romp, romance action, but for whatever reason, it just didn't work out.
I did also I've seen Peggy Sue Got Married, and also The Man with Two Brains, which is a movie that my dad showed to me when I was too young. It stars Kathleen Turner and Steve Martin. And this is like one of those movies where my dad probably saw it when it came out it's from 1983, but there's some like serious nudity in that movie. And I was like far too young to see it. And it stayed, it's right there. I can see it right now.
Right in front of you.
So I will say real quick, Mike Scott in chat said that she played a male drag queen in Friends. So that's why I don't know if it's still PC anymore.
Makes sense.
Because I don't know how it works.
I mean, every episode of Friends probably still holds up great, right?
I'm not going to assume it does.
Just fantastically topical.
Yeah. We all grow.
So, Proto, this was your pick. What's at the top of your list to discuss with your close personal friends on this viewing?
I think I'd want to just start with the scene that really cracked me up the most. I think for the most part, I wasn't like dying laughing through this, but there was some scenes in this that just really like tore me to shreds. And the one that got me the most, which is really, I think, like the first most off the wall scene, is when they start to make love in the bed
Oh my God.
of their house. And I don't know what is like the thing about Kathleen in this, and we'll get into her, like this character of Beverly, she's very like, she's like an enigma. You're not really sure like what her motivations are, but it seems like in this scene, like she gets extremely horny from like killing the math teacher, that she just has to make love with her husband. And like the idea of her kids hearing her moan throughout the house was just like the funniest thing. Like I was destroyed. And then whatever this acrobatics that they're doing on their mattress.
How is there not a gif of that for someone to drop in chat? Eugene is pounding from like 5 feet high to the bed. I don't even know how it's possible that they didn't like get injured. He didn't have a heart attack. But yeah, I mean, just that. But also, those kids are not asleep. They're hearing everything. That would be also just kind of warping to me if I had heard something like that happening.
I think what killed me the most was when they start and he just tries to be quiet. And then she just right away moans really loud. And just like, she doesn't care. It just killed me.
God,
yeah, she's like, all right, we have to be quiet. And then it cuts to Matthew Lillard. Oh!
Oh my God. Yeah. Amazing scene. She is so funny in this movie. Like to the point where I just like, she has to be regarded like a comedy genius, I feel like, in this movie, because the writing in this movie is just so dark and subtle. She's incredible. Like every time she's on screen, she's riveting. Like she is having the time of her life playing this kind of picture perfect mom, but who is also a serial killer. Like it looks like she had been waiting for this role for like a decade. And she's like, oh my God, I'm not going to let this go. This is like the greatest role I've ever gotten. And every scene she's in, like I'm glued to the screen.
I found, when Proto said, that he didn't, or whatever, doesn't find it as funny, but scenes tore him up. I feel the same way. Like I didn't find like everything funny, but also every time she was on the screen, I was just kind of like grinning ear to ear because her facial expressions, her reactions to people, and she really was like a comedic genius. Like it was really funny.
Mm-hmm.
And I pulled up the reading about the wiki on this, and she was like 5th choice. Before her, it was offered to Meryl Streep, Kathy Bates, Glenn Close, and Julie Andrews. Can you imagine Julie Andrews in that role?
In that bedroom with Sam Waterston?
Oh, God.
She'd be singing.
Please. I mean, Meryl Streep, I think, would have been great in this too. Like,
Yeah,
I'll
she's
admit, because she's great in, was it
Everything.
Death Becomes Us?
Her.
So what's that
Oh,
movie?
Yeah, Bruce
Death Becomes
Willis.
Her. I mean, yeah, she's amazing in that movie. But man alive. So, I mean, the scenes, like right away, you see her, the first scene where you like realize that she's not everything we think she is when she's doing the crank calls.
Oh my God, the fake calls.
God damn you, stop calling here.
Isn't this 4215 Pussy Way?
You bitch!
Now let me check the zip code. 212, fuck you.
The police are tracing this call this very minute.
Well, Donnie Hinkle, then why aren't they here, huh? Fuckface?
Fuck you!
Incredible. Just
It looks like she's
incredible.
even cracking during those scenes. They just
Yeah.
like kept them in because it fit in those moments.
What was the one where she called back and was pretending to be something else? And then
Oh
All
yeah.
Oh yeah.
so ridiculous. I was dying. Those were great.
But also her character is fascinating too because she's like so ballsy. Like she just
yeah.
thinks she can get away with it because she's hanging out with that woman at
Yeah.
her house and she's just like takes off the veil and does the voice.
like
And,
right
like,
away
smashes
too.
that thing
She
in
was
front of her.
tired.
Yeah. It's early.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think with the first kill where she runs over the teacher, I'm like, man, she's so brazen. This is like a bad move. She's gonna get caught. And then
Yeah.
later it's just like she's stabbing a guy in the restroom and it's like, it's part of the course now. Like you just see these kills. She does them wherever she's gonna get them.
I love that they figured her out like halfway through this movie that she was a killer and she
Yeah.
was like
Yeah.
escaping their grasp the whole time.
Mm-hmm. There's still a lot of movie. Even when she gets caught, there's still a lot to go. Like the
Yeah.
courtroom scene, her trying to weasel her way out of that stuff. So yeah, there's a lot for her to work with in this movie. Danny, top of your list.
Top of my list. I when I knew this was a John Waters film and I remember it being covered on Bat and Spider, my assumption of John Waters would have been that this would have been way more gory than it was. I expected like real, like over the top, like gory kills. And I don't know why they didn't feel like I was actually really shocked on how tame this movie was. Like I don't know what it was about it. I mean, I know she has the one where she like skewers the guy at the urinal, but like it doesn't show like like that much of the killings as I thought they would. And I was just really kind of taken back by it because I thought we were going to see like way more killing aspects. And I don't know, maybe because we had just come off of like Maxine and watched Pearl and X, and I was just John Waters seems like someone that pushed the limit a bit, and I thought this was going to be way more like gross than it ended up being.
Most of the gross was in like the movies that the kids were watching on their
Right.
TV. Like that
Yeah.
was probably more gory than the actual murdering in the film.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what to expect with the murders, but I loved how like they were more campy than anything else.
Right.
Like when she hits the math teacher with the car, and just like his eyes, they look like he looks like he's unconscious already, but she's going like 10 miles an hour and hits him, and then like just like this like mouthful of blood comes out, and like as he slowly goes up the windshield, like it's just so stupid.
Yeah.
But I love that.
Yeah, I didn't hate it. I think I just expected it to be way different.
The first stunt that guy, the teacher, takes when he gets hit by that car looked rough. Like when he first hits the ground. Oh,
He actually
God.
might.
I
Yeah,
felt
he might got
sore.
hit.
This I recognize the name in the credits, but I didn't realize it sooner. But this has the same composer as RoboCop, Basil Poledouris.
Basil.
Fun fact.
What?
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Let's see. What do I want to talk about? I guess I talked about Kathleen already. Maybe my first ever memory of a glory hole. This one, potentially? I mean, a lot of firsts in this movie as a kid seeing this.
Yeah.
Lots
apparently.
of firsts. Well, I'm not even going to elaborate on a thought after that.
Excuse me.
There's also like the hair on these kids, like the Jeep dude, the boyfriend, Scotty. That's like the most 90s. Is there a more recognizable 90s haircut than that like Jonathan Taylor Thomas Home Improvement haircut?
yeah.
The parted floppy hair. Cripes. There's nothing like it. Ricky Lake was great in it, I thought. I kind of like forgot about Ricky Lake.
Me too.
I didn't know she was an actress, if I can be honest. I
Me
thought
neither.
she just did. I thought she
Really?
just like the TV show, like
Yeah.
whatever she
The
did.
talk show.
the talk show.
Well, I think her breakout role was Hairspray, John Waters' Hairspray. That's where that was like her claim to fame. And then she was in, I think, Crybaby with Johnny Depp by John Waters. And then I think her talk show had been out maybe for like a year when this movie came out. So like she was kind of already kind of moving around entertainment and doing her own thing. I was actually on her
Interesting.
IG. She looks fantastic. Ricky Lake. She's like
got
got
gray hair.
totally gray hair. She's rocking
great.
it. I need to go all gray.
Go, Ricky.
Meet up with Ricky.
She was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I didn't realize that either. The
She's not.
first movie.
I don't think I've ever seen that movie. The first,
she's in Working.
the OG. Pardon?
Oh my God. Just came across a John Waters movie that I don't even know.
Okay.
All right. Next, my second point is, I think this is the best use of a fart noise in any movie ever.
Excuse me.
And now I'm not keeping tabs on fart noises, but there was 2 fart noises in here that were so funny. I had to I rewound it like 3 times just to listen to it, because the first time it happens, it caught me off guard. The first one is when she's killing the math teacher and she goes to put it in reverse. It's a fart. And I don't know what about that was just it was so out of left field. I was like, wait, did she just fart in the car? So I had to go back. But yeah, it's right there, right? And then there's another scene. I think she's on the phone calling somebody, and the guy, I forget what it is, but I think he like puts an object down on the table, and it lets one rip right there. And at that point, like I am like on the edge of my seat, like waiting for the next fart. But I don't know if there was any more. It might have just been those 2. And just to think of the restraint that John Waters has to use it so sparingly, but in such choice moments, I was really impressed.
I find myself,
Artur.
like myself, very much like John Waters in that way with the fart sounder on this show. You can't use it,
No.
too often. You want to make it worth it when you do use it.
Savor it.
Yeah, you have to savor it. Oh, God. John Waters. Should we continue a journey? I kind of want to watch.
What would you want to watch?
I mean, I feel like I've heard a lot about Crybaby. It's like a musical also. You had to have seen the poster Crybaby, Dan.
I've seen the poster of Cryberry because I know that
Famous.
face.
A prim and proper schoolgirl goes against her mother's wishes when she dates a motorcycle riding juvenile delinquent.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That's what it's all about right there.
Young Johnny.
Brandon in chat is linking polyester. Actually, speaking of Brandon, we have a letter from Brandon. Why don't I read that now?
You want to read it?
Just a quick segue here. Prince of Puke, Duke of Dirt, Pope of Trash. He's not talking about Danny. He's talking about John Waters.
Christ.
Brandon goes on to say, this email isn't about Serial Mom in particular. However, on the occasion of the show covering its first John Waters movie, I wanted to share what I think makes him special and unique as a filmmaker. John cultivated his famous troupe of actors and creatives, the Dreamlanders, from his best friends and fellow outcasts in his native Baltimore. Divine even lived around the corner in the same neighborhood.
What?
Performers, oh my God, Brandon, listen, all these performers here. David Lockery, Susan Lowe, Edith Massey, Divine, Cookie Mueller, Mary Vivian Pierce, Mink Stoll, along with casting director Pat Morin, production designer. It goes on and on. All worked on almost every one of his early films. Many of them would work with John for the entirety of their careers. The ones who didn't were those that unfortunately passed away far too early. How many directors can say they've accomplished as much as Waters has, and did so with the people that meant the most to them by their side every step of the way? That powerful and beautiful bond between the group of friends and collaborators feels antiquated in a world that has become brutally transactional. When I think of The Village, a group of misfits who found a place to love and support each other, I can't help but be reminded of Waters and his devoted clan of Baltimore denizens. John Waters has lived a charmed life. What could be better than pursuing your passion with the people who are most important to you? ? Thank you for covering one of the most important voices in American independent cinema on this episode. As we all found out with this film, he could make a pretty damn good studio picture. That's Brandon.
What the?
What a friggin' letter from Brandon.
Great letter. What a letter.
What a friggin' letter. Is it time for us to start our own movie rental business? You know, we're talking about working together, living the dream.
Mm-hmm.
Should we open our video store finally on Amity Island?
Oh my gosh. Talk about rock hard.
Danny's turn? ?
My
I think number 2. Any fart noise notes?
I actually didn't, and but they did make me laugh. God, we've already talked about so much. It's not a long movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's kind of nice. I loved how kind of meta this got. Not like super meta, but when it got like she got arrested when her son Matthew Lillard took over like managing her, and they started making the movie, and Susan Summers came in. I don't know why I loved that. I love that she was going to play her, and I love that she had the one like final kill again. She had to kill one more time in the courthouse. There's something about that was just like, hell yes.
Suzanne Summers looked tremendous when she arrived in that courtroom. My word, Suzanne Summers. Also, just like, I loved that character. She's like wearing the sunglasses. Everyone's fawning over her, entering the courtroom. Even like the cops are beside themselves. Yeah, I would just like a perfect ending for the story with her.
Honestly, one of the things that sold me on watching this is the banner on Letterboxd for this movie it's Kathleen and Suzanne Summers. And it's like Suzanne is giving this face of just like confusion at the end of the movie where like they find the body. And it's just like that shot alone would just seem so funny to me that it's one of the reasons I picked this.
So I had to look it up because Suzanne, I only really knew her from Step by Step, the TV show. And that started in 91 and this was in 94. So she did this in like the height of Step by Step. Like, why did she do this film? I'm just interested. I'm like, it's fascinating to me.
Smart woman, smart businesswoman.
Yeah. Step by Step lasted till 97 or 98.
Way too long. I used to watch that. Was that like Thursday nights or whatever?
No, TGIF, baby. TGIF.
TGIF. Step by Step. Day
we don't
by
day.
Pro, did you watch Step by Step?
I don't think I've ever watched it.
Really?
I don't even know. I
Season
couldn't even tell you
back
what it
again
is.
for Step by Step.
Patrick Duffy.
Part almost just spit up at that idea. He was like, I'm not doing
What if we
that.
did a pilot episode special, TGIF special?
Oh,
We did the pilots from the TGIF shows.
Okay, hold on. Just for our young viewers, young listeners, there's thank God it's Friday. When we were kids, there'd be like a series of 4 television shows that you had to watch, like sitcoms. TGIF lineup. Let me just, so, look at this lineup. Is this for real? Family Matters. Boy Meets World.
Oh my gosh.
Full House. Perfect Strangers is in here. I don't know if that sounds right.
Perfect Strangers?
Step by Step.
Balky.
Family Matters. Dang. That was some banging TV back then. They don't
It
make them
really
like they
was.
used to. Sheesh. Paul dropped a GIF in chat of the one kill. How about that woman getting her toes licked while she's watching Annie and singing Annie?
Oh my God. Amazing.
Yo, that's one of my favorite pieces of trivia I read. I have it written down in my notes. I'll say it now since you brought it up. They wanted to use that song Tomorrow from Annie. And when they reached out to the licensing, they had to tell them what scene it was for. So they came back with like
Oh my
an
God.
insane fee for them to use the song. And it was like $60,000 just for that scene. And they paid it so that they could have the Annie
Oh my
song
God.
in that scene.
Damn. Worth it though. I mean, that was a
It's
great
so
scene.
funny.
Disgusting. Yeah, I don't have a ton left. Just quick going through some Menchie's. That woman was so happy with that sandwich she made too. Like right before that, like she put that sandwich together.
yeah.
She
It
was
was a
grinning,
terrible
like,
sandwich.
She knew she was gonna have the time of her life after eating that sandwich. Good for her. Perdo?
I thought one thing that stood out to me with this was that it felt like it flipped back and forth between like being completely absurd to being like almost like somewhat normal in certain scenes. In some ways, this movie feels like in the vein of something like Austin Powers or like a Leslie Nielsen movie, like Airplane or Naked Gun, but not like all the way. Like it's like when I watch those movies, I feel like it's absurd the whole way through, like, and it doesn't let up. Whereas this, it felt like at parts I was like, wait, is this going to go back to being crazy? Because it's like, to me, like the scenes that are really nuts are I guess there's a lot of crazy scenes, but the making love scene, but then the scene of the kid like jerking off in his bedroom.
Oh my gosh.
Like there's like such a setup of those two scenes of just like being so ridiculous and like so cartoonish that like other parts of the movie doesn't have that really like stood out to me. I mean, I love that scene as well. Like just the idea of like this kid setting it up, getting the blanket out, setting up the TV. He's got it all ready to go and getting interrupted.
I looked up, this is like considered, dark comedy, black comedy, satire. I've tried to see some Letterboxd lists that like other movies that are kind of tagged that. I found one list that has Parasite as a black comedy. Pulp Fiction, American Psycho, Fargo.
Oh yeah, it does the like Fargo intro too, the true story.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Punch Drunk Love is on here too, believe it or not.
That was like a funny and like curious decision to make too, of just like that gag of saying it's it's based on true events, but then also like continuing to show the actual time of like when things occurred as if like this is all written down somewhere. It's such a stupid joke.
And I did read too that like this was maybe like a comment on the like people's obsession with crime stories. And I guess you could rephrase that and call it true crime, which it could probably just still be true. Because like all these people were still like excited and like about a murderer being running loose in their town.
Yeah.
And they wanted like a piece of the action. Like, and then the dude's brother was murdered. And then he gets told that he's like, I need your, if you need to sign this form, you want to be in this movie with Suzanne Summers. He's like, oh, Suzanne Summers is going to be in the movie. And he's like all excited all of a sudden, even though his brother's dead. So I thought that was, I mean, in that respect, you could say there's like a very, very much a timeless aspect of this film. Her singing to the birds. Does Casey do that, Danny? When you guys bird watch, does she sing to the birds? Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee.
Oh my God, that was insane. No, she doesn't. I hope she starts though, because that makes me laugh.
Sam talking about the P word. I'm not going to say it on the show. P face.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, she's like, I've never written it out, let alone said it out loud. And then Sam's like, no woman would. Or I think it was Sam. Like the word is still just so disturbing. Scott's hair. Oh my God. When one of the, I think it was the neighbor, when she yells F you, it was like one of the loudest F yous I've ever heard.
It was pretty good.
God, it was great. I'm so happy I could shit.
I need to use that more.
Yeah, I think we all need to start using that one in our regular vocabulary.
God.
The dentist stuff. This scene might have been the first
Oh my
memory of a
God.
dentist that maybe scarred me. I mean,
God.
I was like recoiling when
Yeah.
the scene changed to the dentist's office. It is all coming back to me. No, thank you. John Waters as Ted Bundy on that tape. That was pretty funny.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I mean, the size of that woman's breasts,
Excuse me.
Chesty Morgan.
Mm.
What a name.
Holy smokes. That's all I have to say. And then I think I think it was Sam who said this. He's like, I've been reading about this. Is it menopause? Or he was like trying to figure out why she was killing people. And then I think my last maybe honorable mention, my last note is when she's like representing herself in the trial and she gets to like one of the witnesses, like the prime witnesses, and to like debunk her story, there's a tense moment in the courtroom. She's like, Mrs. Ackerman, do you recycle? And everyone is like leaning in to see what she'll say. And that essentially like wins her the case. That was just so funny. I think I'm still at 4 stars for Serial Mom. I still have a great time watching this. Kathleen is absolutely incredible in the role. So that's me. Danny?
I think the only thing left that we hadn't brought up was Camel Lips, the band.
Oh, man.
Incredible moment of this film. I had to look it up because it's a real... Camel Lips is not a real band. The band is called L7, and they were a real rock band that wrote the song Gas Chamber.
I thought you were going to say something about like, I had
Excuse
to
me.
look up Camel Lips. And this is a real thing.
I had no idea.
Let me tell you guys
I
something.
paused and went straight to Google. Have you guys seen this before?
You won't believe what I found.
Safe search off next time. Anyway, real band. They really wrote the song Gas Chamber with John Waters wrote the lyrics with them.
That's awesome.
L7 was the band. I'm at 4 stars as well. I thought this movie was so much fun. It's hilarious. There's a really rad vibe to it. I loved how bright it was too. It wasn't like they didn't try to have like horror movie aspect of it. It was just it felt like like someone said, I think they brought up like Leave It to Beaver or something.
Yeah.
In the thing. And it really felt like a serial killer episode of Leave It to Beaver. And it was a lot of fun.
How about that shot too of her in the van? Remember the kids see her chasing after Scotty in the van and she like turns and smiles and waves.
Yes.
It's so funny.
She's great.
Yeah.
There was one scene where she's driving. She's like racing away in her car, and there's like the street is like an S, and she like cuts through someone's lawn. I thought that was just like a great action scene. She must have been going like 60 miles an hour and just like cut right over through the lawn.
Yeah. That van at one point could sound like 3 wheels taking a turn. I thought I was going to roll that van at some point.
The Laserdisc and I guess the DVD has a commentary from Waters and Turner. I need to get my hands on that. I'd love to listen to that.
Oh wow, yeah.
I need to listen to him talk. I need to hear what his voice sounds like.
My final notes, it's so stupid. Her dropping the AC unit on the guy's head. That's her plan. The scene at the church was so goofy. Like they're setting it up for them. First of all, like having 10 cop cars follow her wherever she's going. And like everyone knows that she's the killer, but they're like waiting for the evidence to come in. And then like them escaping the church, like that scene just made no sense at all. It was just like so stupid. Like it felt like they wrote themselves into a corner. And they're like, I don't know. Let's just like let's just run out the door and get in the car. Oh, and I love there's a Wilhelm scream in this when the guy comes into the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he comes into the bathroom to find the body, and he just is like, it's like
I mean, that looked like the best one ever, if that one was, because it felt like it fit perfectly with that character's reaction and the scream.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
Chad is saying it's a different scream, but I felt like that. I thought the same thing. I thought that was a Wilhelm scream when I heard
didn't
it.
catch the Wilhelm scream.
Unless he was imitating it. Until I hear otherwise, I feel like it is the Wilhelm scream.
Okay.
Technically,
Okay, everybody, calm down.
Just insert both sounds right here, Slim.
I'm at 3 stars for this. I had a good time. I thought it was funny. Yeah, I'm glad I watched it.
All I
Yeah,
can
I
ask
want to
for.
watch. I want to watch more John Waters. I'm down.
The John Waters Journey. Mosh, did you even watch the movie? You know, it's the
Gosh.
Wilhelm scream. Okay, we're closing the book on this topic. We're verifying it just with our memories. It's
Yeah.
been memory verified. All right, that's it for Serial Mom. We did it. John Waters has made
pick.
his
Great
way.
pick.
Yeah, fantastic pick.
So
Onto
much
the
fun.
show.
Thank you.
And I think, actually, you know what? We might have one more letter. Thank God I didn't forget because I'm very good at that. Comes from Andrew. Subject line from Tokyo with love.
My favorite Bond.
Hey, 70mm, this is Andy, otherwise known as Xanum on the Discord. I've been on a Kurosawa kick ever since you covered High and Low earlier this year. Shortly after, I went and saw Redbeard in 35mm at one of our favorite local theaters in Cleveland. However, I'm afraid to admit I narrowly missed their 4K screening of Seven Samurai last weekend. It would have been my first time seeing it. The reason I missed it, because I had an early flight to catch the next morning to Tokyo, Japan. I've been here all week for work, and yesterday we got hit with a 92-degree day and upwards of 80% humidity later on.
Is that
right?
hot?
I write to you now as proof of my survival. In an effort to cool off and salvage my body after spending much of the day outside, I decided to take an ice-cold bath.
Whoa.
But I also reached for an episode of 70mm to help speed up the process. Turns out I had downloaded your Seven Samurai episode a long time ago for a previous trip. It was in this moment that a second bold decision was made, and I hit play. By the time you're reading this live on a Thursday night, it'll be Friday morning for me. This trip has arguably been a life-changing experience, but I really miss home and my wife, Hillary. I may have spoiled Seven Samurai for myself while subjecting my body to an unhinged method of icy restoration, but it made me feel back home for an hour, so I'd say it was worth it. Looking forward to all the unfollows on Letterboxd next time I pull a refresh. Much love, Andy.
Oh no.
Gosh.
Great letter.
Andy. When are we going to Tokyo, Japan? That's a question we need to
That's our
ask.
turn.
When
next
will it be
meetup.
our turn for Tokyo? We got to have some listeners in Tokyo. Let me load up Spotify.
Shoot us a letter.
I'm in Spotify Analytics. Let me see how many people are in Japan.
Okay.
Hold, please. Geographic location loading. Scrolling. All right.
Oh,
So
I can't
it
forget.
seems less than 1% are in Japan. So could be
Well,
bigger.
I mean, we have 1 million listeners, so that's a lot.
You heard it straight from the horse's mouth.
Did you
Our head of data, Danny Hawks. Okay, so next week is my pick for closing out Leading Ladies Month, Vol 4, and it's Carol, Todd Haynes from 2015,
That God.
and it's streaming on Netflix right now. So another Netflix
Oh, nice.
available movie for all those people who haven't canceled Netflix for their price hikes. An aspiring photographer develops an intimate relationship with an older woman in 1950s New York. Kate Blanchett Rooney Mara. Excuse me. 4.0 average on Letterboxd.
That's crazy. Oh no. Kyle Chandler's in this. We'll get through this. We're gonna get through this.
I think you're the one who needs to get through it. You have a lot of unsolved issues from the
You need to
Godzilla
heal.
movies. Yeah, you need to do some healing. Mike Scott says Kyle Chandler's the modern day Bill Pullman. I don't think that's true.
Oh, Mike.
Should
where's
we
the
ban
fan?
Mike from chat?
Mike, you're on thin ice.
Where's the
That's
mods?
Instant thin ice.
Proto, any closing thoughts as we can see the finish line for Leading Ladies Month?
Closing thoughts. I guess I don't have anything other than happy less than 1 week until Presumed Innocent finale
Oh my
next
gosh.
Wednesday. I don't know if everyone's watching Presumed
I had
Innocent,
no idea
but
you were watching this.
Apple TV, Presumed Innocence, Jake Gyllenhaal, courtroom drama, murder.
Is this an
Are
ad?
you
You have to
interested?
disclose if Apple paid for this.
Hashtag ad.
Oh my gosh.
Hashtag promoted. But me and my wife are loving this show. She was so pissed off.
Uh-oh.
Great thing about one of the funniest things about Jenna is that when she can't continue to watch a show because an episode isn't out, there's nothing that would make her more angry. She was raging today after we finished this.
Oh my gosh.
6 more days.
6 more days. Jenna, be strong. It's just around the corner. All right, everyone. We have our patron movies chosen, and we'll see everybody next week for Carol.
$70mm is a tape deck production featuring original artwork provided by Danny Haas. Spiritual guidance and V'ger, the robot who loves movies, provided by Pertalexis. Producer at large Dale_A. And music composed by Cinematric. Prints and other merch are available on 70mmpod.com. This episode was mixed, edited, and produced by me, Slim. Support our Patreon for access to our VHS Village Discord to talk movies with new friends, access to our exclusive episodes in the 70mm vault, discounts on merch, uncut episodes, and a physical membership card mailed to you. To check out other Tape Deck podcasts, find the link in the episode notes. And if you'd like to support our friends at Letterboxd and upgrade to pro or patron status, you can do so with a 20% off discount using the links on 70mmpod.com. Goodbye.